Hi everyone, it's Leilani. Welcome back to my channel. So today it is time for the long-awaited, at least by me, reading journal video. So this is the video where I am finally getting my reading journal into shape for 2024. We're going to work on all of those first spreads of like different trackings and different things like that I'm going to be keeping track of throughout the year. And then also we are going to do January spreads, so you'll see what's changed and which trackers I'm keeping, which ones have changed, what I'm adding, all that kind of good stuff for my reading journal for 2024. So I say long awaited because I have really been wanting to get this video out, but I struggled with choosing what type of notebook I wanted to document in for this year. So you'll notice that I am back in my tried and true Archer and Olive notebook. I'm pretty sure that this one was also gifted by my beautiful friend Avatal. Thank you so much. And it's really come in handy. So it was sitting there on my shelf just begging for me to use it again this year. It's the same type of notebook that I used for 2022 and 2023. That one served me very well. It did get a little chunky, but that's because for all of 2022, I use non-sticker paper. So it really bulked out the album. So I will definitely only be using sticker paper in this one. And that seems to help tremendously. So I decided to go with this one, although I did try out a Hobonichi Weeks and also an A6 Hobonichi notebook, and neither one of those worked. I was really just kind of into the Hobonichi with documenting in there for my daily journal. I thought it would be kind of fun to just go along with a similar style. But as I was starting it, I tried both of those out a little bit, not for very long, but just like as I was in the craft room, like basically doing what I'm doing here, I kind of tried to create a layout, and I was quickly like, no, just with the thin paper of the Hobonichi, I couldn't do a lot of stamping. Everything, of course, bleeds through, and I really wanted to utilize my stamp. So that's one thing that you're going to see a lot in my reading journal for sure. So I ended up going with the Archer and Olive, and I'm so happy that I did. So before this video gets away from me, this first spread is one that I also have done every other year that I've done a reading journal. I titled it My Bookish Year. And it is the spread where by the end of the year, hopefully we will have it completely filled with all kinds of book covers of all of the books that I read throughout each month. So this month I read 7 books. So I printed off those book covers. Now it's kind of a weird size, but I wrote it down. It's a 0.6 by 0.9 size. So I printed them all off and then popped them right into place. Now on my, I use a MacBook Pro, and on my laptop, I'm able, when I go to print off photos, I'm able to choose a custom size. So that is how I always print off my book covers at whatever size works for me. Now, as far as the stamp set goes, honestly, I'm not positive where it is from because I always take my stamp sets out of the packaging, and this one does not have the company printed on it, but I for some reason it's telling me Allie Edwards in my mind. I think it might be Allie Edwards. If you guys know and you can confirm or deny that in the comments, I would greatly appreciate it. But I also have the number stamp that we're going to use briefly at some point, and it's just a little bit bigger version of this. Now I'm not sure. It might not be. But for some reason, that's what I'm thinking. I'll try to do a little research and figure that one out. But I really like this stamp set. It's a newer one that I got, I think, around Christmas time. So I'm going to be using that throughout this year to do my large titles. So my second spread here that I'm working on is my favorites. Now, this is probably my favorite, spread that I did this time, and also one of my most loved spreads to look back on at the end of the year. I love seeing my different favorite book that I've chosen for each month. I always think that that's really fun. So for this entire kind of vibe of my reading journal this year, I knew that I wanted to be a little more doodly with it. I wanted to add more color, and I thought that I would just do that by coloring in things with my mild liners and also the markers, and also using the Catherine Pooler just like really bright, fun ink pads that I have. So I have those smaller ink pads. I've used them like for years now for basically any project that I have where I'm using colored ink. And I think the two that I have by Catherine Pooler are Life of the Party and Carnival. So these stamp pads that you will see, the ink pads, those are just a mixture of those two different stamp ink collections. So you'll see that what my idea was for this one is I wanted to do 12, of course, little like blobs of some sort where my photo could go at the end of each month. And then I would kind of maybe take my pen and further decorate that little blob. You'll see I'm going to outline the January one, and then that will house my favorite book of every month. So I love the way that that looks. And as we move on, sometimes I speed it up really fast, and that's just so that you can, of course, get the feel of what I'm doing, but you don't have to watch me like color in each little thing. It takes a while to do, but you can see that I'm doing just a mixture of colors and then a mixture of different shapes. I have squares, I have circles, I have kind of like pointed ones and rounded scalloped ones and just all kinds of different things. And I just thought that this would be really fun. And then I also pulled out a newer stamp set to me. I think that it just came out this year, obviously, because it is a 2024 stamp set, I'm pretty sure. But anyway, it just came out in January from Ellie Studio, and it's such a nice stamp set. It has every month of the year on it, along with a number stamp that goes all the way from 1 to 31. It also says like spring, summer, fall, autumn, winter, and has a few other like things like date and week number and on this day, like words like that at the bottom as well. So what I ended up doing was I couldn't fit the full month title like January, February, March. So I just cut them if they're clear stamps. So I cut each one of the months down to only 3 letters so they could be abbreviated. But of course I have the other half that I cut off still as well. So if I wanted to, let's say, stamp out January, it would be extremely easy to put those 2 pieces that I cut apart back together on my clear acrylic block and stamp out the full name of January. So it's just an easy way to like make your stamps work for you if you need them to, because the clear stamps are very, very easy to still stamp out correctly, even if they were cut apart. I hope that makes sense. So here you can see that I filled in all the rest of the months. So I have January through December and all kinds of fun little shapes there with the month title stamped underneath it. Then here for January, I'm just going to fill in a little bit like more of a design. So I'm going to go over everything with my pen and just make it stand out a little bit more. So I'm going to do that each month, just add in a little bit of something extra with my black pen. Now, the pen that I'm using for this video, the black pen that I use throughout, is I think it's like the Friction Ball. Is Ball a brand? I think it's a Pilot. It's a Pilot pen, and I think it's like a friction clicker, and it's a '07, but it's erasable, okay? And that's what's so cool about this. I've never used an erasable pen before, and on some video or something, someone suggested that a long time ago. I bought a pack of them, and then I had not really used them. So this year, whenever I started a new little cheapo planner to keep track of my videos and whatnot, I started to use the erasable pen, and it is a game changer. So it has helped me so much because y'all know that I hate to measure and do anything like that. So throughout this book, if I ever mess up as I'm drawing something with that pen, I can easily erase it and then just redraw it. I mean, how cool is that? It's really, really awesome. So I had a super good time with that throughout. So I'm going to use that throughout the year. So this is my third spread, and now this one is a new to me spread. I decided to do a Goodreads. It's just called Goodreads on here, but it's the Goodreads challenge. So I'm sure if you're watching a reading journal video, you might keep up with all of your reads for the year, possibly on Goodreads. So I'm over there, and I love to keep up with my books on Goodreads. And that's really what is like my brain for all of the things that I do here in my reading journal. So I do have a Goodreads challenge. I think I have 90 books this year. I'm really shooting for 7 books a month. That's like my kind of in the back of my mind goal. But of course, as many months go, sometimes I might read 9, sometimes I might only read 5, who knows. But my goal is about 7 roughly every month. So that's what I'm hoping for. And so I at least am hoping to get to 84 books if we do the math there. But I do have a spot for 90. Now, as I'm working on this spread, I do stamp out my title. I have those little starburst things on either side of the Goodreads. And now those are from another really cute stamp set that I got, again, maybe be around Christmas time, and it's from Studio Calico. So I'm not exactly sure the stamp set, but it has all kinds of thought bubbles on it, like clear thought bubble, or excuse me, empty thought bubbles. And then it has words on it like no way and hello and love this and stuff that you can put inside of the thought bubbles. So some of the other little extra stamps that are on that stamp set, they have these like starbursts. So you're going to see that I'm going to use those throughout this album as well. So I love the way that that ended up looking. So also you'll notice that I'm using my mild liners to underline and do borders. That was another thing I was really interested in doing this year, was doing like borders on all my pages. So I've pretty much just been doing the same kind of border where I just take the mild liner. Of course, this notebook is dotted, so it's really easy to kind of go by the dots to give you some sort of a guide. And so I'll go by the dots, and I'm just going around some of them to create that line, and I'm just kind of rounding the edges there, and then using that same erasable pen that I'm using now to just outline it. So you can see here, if I make a boo-boo, I think I do, I just erase it, and it's so cool. It's like magic. Like, I didn't know they had erasable pens. I'm sure I'm just so out of the loop, but it's incredible. So what I decided to do for Goodreads, I keep it nice and simple, and I'm just drawing these little boxes. So I don't make you watch me do all of this, but I'm going to draw all of my little boxes, all that will fit on here. And by the end, I had 70 total boxes. So at first I thought, okay, 70, that sounds like a good number. I'll just keep that. Well, later in the video, I'm actually going to change my mind, and I'm going to do like a continued page of this, because as I was like doing, girl math in my brain, I was like, wait a second, 70 does not allow for me to read 7 books for every month. So I'm definitely not going to be able to fit all my books on here, most likely. So I needed to add a few more. So we'll actually do that a little bit later in the video. But you get the idea here. I went through and I numbered all of them 1 through 70. And then I'm using my pink mild liner, my favorite mild liner of them all. And I'm coloring in 7 of these boxes for the 7 books that I read this month. Now, I don't know if I'm going to put like some sort of a key or something on the other page. I thought about it because I will have a little bit of extra room. You'll see that as we go. But honestly, I think it's going to be pretty self-explanatory to see that like the first 7 would be from January, the next ones that are colored in would be from February, and so on and so forth. So I don't know that I need a key. So I think it will be easy to figure that out. But as I fill out all those boxes throughout the year, I do plan on doing like a different color for each month. Now on to my next spread. So I did actually skip a page in between these two, luckily, because I end up using those blank pages. And then here I went with my Cozy Book Club. So I just love the way that stamp set is doing these large titles. I think it looks so good. And I really am liking the way that all of the letters are kind of stamped together, almost like one continuous word. Yet the different colors are what allows you to see that it's 3 words, like Cozy Book Club. So I really like the way that looks. Again, did my border. And then I'm going to do something similar to the favorites page, where I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make circles, though. They're all going to be circles for this one. And then they will have the months underneath it, or actually, I think I just put numbers underneath them, 1 through 12 for the 12 months. And that is where, of course, all of my Cozy Mystery Book Club picks will be for the entire year. So if you didn't know, I do have a book club over on Patreon. It's so fun. It's low key. It's easygoing, but it's really fun. It's one of my favorite parts of Patreon, and it's just a easy thing to do each month, but it's at the $5 tier and up. So basically, no matter which tier you sign up for, you are automatically given the Zoom link every month for Crafty Zoom and the Cozy Mystery. So we are branching out a little bit from not only Cozy Mysteries, but that is the majority of what we read over there, and it's really fun. So you can see that I'm doing my little circles. After I was working on them, I'm like, these kind of look like Easter eggs with the pastel colors, but I think that it works out fine. And of course, after the books are put in each month and I kind of decorate the circle a little bit, it starts to look better and better, obviously, as it all starts to come together. So here I'm going to do these first 6, and then I think I'm going to go ahead and get that book cover into this, the first slot, and then I'm going to add a little bit of detail just like I did with the favorites. So the book that we read for January was The Secret Book and Scone Society by Ellery Adams, and it was really good. I really, really enjoyed this book. It was a fun, interesting story about this group of friends. There was just kind of like all the things that you want out of a cozy. I felt there was cozy moments, and there was also, those hard storylines, and there was friendship, and there was all the things. And I think the majority of us really did enjoy that one. I enjoyed it a lot more than I was expecting to. So you can see that I added a little bit of decoration there, and then I'm just filling in all of my numbers. And so by the end of the year, we'll have all 12 of those filled in, and we will have a full page there, which will be really nice. So then going along with the cozy vibes, I wanted to do a cozy bingo. So back in 2024, I did print off a few different book related bingo cards, and I would put stickers on them each month as I filled out, as I found different things that I could fill in. So I thought that I would just make my own. So I do the same thing with that same stamp set at the top. Also, if you're curious where those little circle, you'll see that right by Cozy Bingo in yellow, I have a little circle that I stamped, and then I have a sentiment inside that says, "This is awesome." I also use that on one of the previous pages as well. That one is also from Studio Calico, and it's so cute. It has the little filled in circle, and then it has all kinds of fun sentiments. So before I used love this, and I think I used yes to this. There's like, oh no, and keep your head up, in real life, and write it down. There's all kinds of really fun little sentiments on there. So I'm using that here and there as well. So then for this one, I did my outline, and then I am drawing my bingo card. So I keep this part really simple. I'm just drawing the outline of the bingo card, and then I'm going to make all my little boxes, and then we're going to write in all kinds of things that typically happen in a cozy mystery or could happen. So I thought of some of these myself, and then I also looked on a couple cozy mystery bingo cards like from the internet and filled all of them in. So for instance, like a town gathering is on there, quirky town folk, food or drink poisoned, a dog sidekick, a cat sidekick, a ghost, a mysterious guest, must be saved in climax by a man, disappearance, missing jewels or jewelry, confronts the killer alone, all kinds of things. There's so many different things here that I filled in, and that was really fun. Even just thinking of some of these things I thought were really fun. And then I do fill in a few of them that went along with that first book. Now, as I was filling them in, I was like, wait, some of these went along with February's book, which we've already completed, but I kind of wasn't thinking, so I just kind of stopped. So a few of the ones that I fill in went more along with February's book than with January's book, but I'll just be that much ahead of the game whenever it's time to fill in all of February's things. So for this one, I didn't want to fully go over what each thing was because I wanted you still to be able to read like whatever the bingo was. So I'm just trying to kind of like loosely color in there. It's not perfect because I didn't want anything to, what's the word? Oh my gosh, brain fart. I didn't want anything to smear. That's the word. Yay, we found it. I didn't want anything to smear or anything like that, especially with that erasable pen. It does take just a minute to dry, but I haven't noticed any problems with smearing or anything. But I did notice whenever I was coloring in on top of the pen, it did give it just a little bit, just ever so slight, like smearing or taking off the pen, if that makes sense. So I didn't want that to happen there. So again, I skipped a page in between the Cozy Bingo and this monthly spread. And I think I'm going to go back because I did not end up doing a book shelfie. And that's one of the spreads that I really like. And the reason why I didn't is because I wanted to print it off. I have a printable that I've used in the years past, and I just wanted to use that same printable. But I wanted to print it off on sticker paper, and I don't have any more sticker paper. So I have already ordered that from Amazon. I have it linked below if you guys want to pick up the same kind that I use. But yeah, so I'm going to probably do the book shelfie, I would assume, in the next video. So that one is going to be coming soon. So here for my monthly spread. So I knew that for my monthly, I really, really wanted to totally change what I was doing, because essentially I made up however I was doing it in 2022. 2023 came and I just felt the pressure to get this video out. So I basically just did the same exact thing again, and I wasn't super happy with it. And I struggled the entire year of 2023 with like really enjoying my reading journal. And I really wanted to have more fun with it. So I've been looking at a lot of spreads online, just like watching YouTube videos of different book journals. I have been looking up the book journal hashtag and trying to find different book journals on Instagram. So I've really been looking, and I just kind of had my own ideas mixed in with some of the things that I saw, and this is what I came up with. So I did stamp January at the top, and then just like in the years past, I want to kind of keep it to like one main color for each month. So January's is this kind of greenish blue color here, and then I did the outline as I've been doing, or the border as I've been doing on all the other spreads, and then I used my little tiny wooden stamps that I adore that I got from maybe Michael's or somewhere years ago. And I just used my regular black ink. I used the Memento Tuxedo black ink, and I stamped out stats and total. So you'll see my stats. I just wanted to keep it simple. So I just have total pages, like of all the books, total audiobooks, total physical books, my genres, like the main genre that I read for that month, and then how many books I bought. I saw a couple people talk about that, so I am going to go back and do another spread that you'll see here soon. But also I thought that would be fun to keep up with how many books I bought each month. So I thought that'd be kind of cool. Then I noticed in Hiba's reading journal, I'm sure most people have already checked that one out because she has an incredible reading journal. And in hers, at the start of her month, she did put her monthly favorite. And I love that idea because although I adore when people write about each one of their books and almost do like a review and do all the cool things, draw the book covers like she's doing or print them off and talk about each book, I just knew that I was going to personally get overwhelmed by that, and that wouldn't be something that I could likely keep up with for the entire year. So I really like the idea of just writing about my monthly favorite book, the one that I would pick for that favorite spread earlier in the notebook. And then I wanted to just give this one a little bit of shine and talk about it a little bit more, because as I'm reading things throughout the month, honestly, my retention is not that great. So if I was coming back at the end of the month or the next month trying to write about them, I just fear that I would really struggle with trying to write the review. And I don't want to do it ahead of time. Like I already have enough on my plate. You know what I mean? I don't want this to turn into like a chore. And also, I really do love kind of talking a little bit extra just about that book that's my favorite. So I think that this is going to be really fun. So what I did was I made like a little highlight marked area, and I went ahead and stamped out monthly favorite in those same wooden stamps. Then I used my very, very favorite stamp set, the Sophie Alpha stamp from Citrus Twist, which I actually had to rebuy because I lost it. I still haven't found it. So that is what Snapdragon is stamped out of. And then I printed off my book cover. Now, all of the larger book covers, either from the favorites page, the cozy mystery page, or this monthly page, they are all printed off at another weird size, a 1.3 by 1.9. So that's what worked out the best for me. And then I wanted to do that same kind of idea where I kind of created a frame around my book cover there. And then I have a few stats underneath it. So I decided that I found another stamp set, a small one that is from I think Ellie Studio, that just has all kinds of tiny icons. So it's not book related necessarily. It has travel, it has home, it has weather, it has health. I mean, it's kind of like things you might want to put in your planner, let's say. So they're really cute, tiny little icons. So I'm going to be using the book if I read it physically, or the headphones if I listen to it on audio. So you'll see that I put the little book down there underneath the book cover to signify that I read this one physically. And then I have just the stats of this book. So like that what the genre was a graphic novel, it was LGBTQ, it was fantasy, it was young adult, just a few things like going more into depth about it. And then the total amount of pages for that book. Then underneath my title, you'll see that I put Snapdragon American, the stamp title. And then I did my star rating. So I have a 5-star rating. And then I also did my little review about the book as well. So then we're moving on to the next page, which is going to house all of the other books that I read throughout the month. So upon doing this one, I have the 7 books, and that is kind of a standard amount for me that I typically can easily get through each month. And that amount worked nicely to fill in for the spread. So if I do end up having more, I will probably have to print these books off smaller. But this size seemed to work out really good to put 6 books over here on the right side and that 7th book, the favorite, on the left side. So I'm kind of doing the same idea. I did my border, and then I have each of my book covers. I'm just kind of very easily doing just almost like a little outline underneath each book and then outlining it there. And then I'm going to do more little lines with my mild liner right here beside it. And that's where I will again put the genre, the total page count, and if it was a physical book or an audio book or whatever. Of course, ebook would work too. And there's probably some little icon on there that you could make work for an ebook. I'm trying to look now just to see if I noticed anything. But I don't typically read on my Kindle. It is so rare. So if I did, I would probably just pick out something and make it work and pretend like it was a Kindle. But there is like there's one on here that looks almost like a little iPod or something. So that would totally work. So you can see that I'm adding in all of my stats, and I'm going to do that for the 6 other books, and I think that it ends up looking really cute, so I love it. And then I will also, in that bottom line, so the top one will be the genre, the second one's the pages, the third I'm going to write out physical or audio, and then in the bottom little line that I'm putting by each book, that's going to have either the book stamp or the headphone stamp to signify physical or audio. And then here, of course, I'm doing my rating. So I was going to use the same rating stickers that I've used in the previous years. I bought them from some Etsy shop, and I'll also have those linked below. I did order a few more packs the other day, but they're not here yet. And I could not find my previous packs. I swear I still had some left, but I cannot find them. So I just went with my stamp set. And so since I've done it for this month, I'm probably just going to continue to do it for all the other months, and that's fine with me. So I just stamped out my star rating. So here I'm going to do the same thing over and over for all my books. And as I'm doing that, I'll kind of tell you about some of the other books that I read this month. So the top 2 that I read are the Blood on the Tracks manga series. So I'm on number 13 and 14. I gave them both 4 stars. It's just too much to describe in this video, but it's like a manga thriller, and it is so wild and crazy. This had a time jump in one of these where now the boy that we've been following, who is quite young, maybe like 12 or 13 or something, he's like a grown man at this point. So it was kind of interesting to have that time jump because you're wondering, how are they going to keep this going? I do have number 15 on my shelf ready to read, so I will probably read that this month. And I'm not sure how many more there are. I don't know if there's over 15 right now or not. The other 2 are The Locked Door, which is by Frida McFadden. So I call these the popcorn thrillers. They're easy to get through, and they're always just wild and crazy. So I gave that one a 3. And to be very honest, I do not off the top of my head remember what that book was about. So I listened to that pretty quickly into the month of January, and that month was a little rough, and I don't even remember what that book was about. But I've read or listened to a lot of Frida books, and they are all just very outlandish and very twisty-turny. So they're fun, but there's not a lot of substance to those, but they're still fun to read. The one beside that is, of course, the Secret Book and Scone Society that we read for the Cozy Mystery. Gave that one 4 stars. And then the 2 at the bottom were by Riley Sager, The Last Time I Lied, and Survive the Night. I gave both of them 3. And I love Riley Sager. I mean, some of my favorite books he has written, Lock Every Door, Home Before Dark, and also The Only One Left. I adored all 3 of those. And I think maybe I've read all of them at this point, all of his books. But these 2 I was so excited to read. And the premise of both of them were so fun because The Last Time I Lied is about a thing that happens at a summer camp, and then one of the girls that was involved goes back like 20 years later or something, and it's, it had this potential there, but I didn't end up absolutely loving it. And then the same thing with Survive the Night. It's kind of like a thriller where a girl is stuck in a car with someone, and I mean, the dread that was there throughout half that book was like so incredible, but I felt like it kind of lost me a little bit as it continued. So I had high hopes for Survive the Night. I thought it was going to be a 5-star, but unfortunately it was only a 3. So anyways, those are the books that I read this month, and I finished that off by adding those last few little stamps, and then I also added a little bit more of those Starburst stamps on either side of my total book count, which was 7 for January. So now I'm going back to a couple of the blank pages that I left. So I ended up leaving that blank page behind the Goodreads one. I wasn't sure if I was going to do maybe my bookshelfie in these blank pages, but then I thought, well, I kind of want to do just a continuation page so that I would have more of these Goodreads squares to fill in, as I previously mentioned. So I just used the same stamp set, the same color that I did for Goodreads, the same little starburst on either side, and the same markers and all that, so that it would just go nicely and it would be obvious that we were continuing it. So you'll see that I only went to 90. I could totally fill that page up and go to 100 with squares, which I might actually do. I left it blank because I wasn't sure if I wanted to put like a color-coded key under there. I didn't know if I wanted to add some different just fun stamping to fill in, but I might just do 2 more rows of squares, which would then fill that in, and it would be 100 books, which I probably will not get to, but it would fill in the space. So I might do that. Then for this other side, since I just had a 1-page spread there for the continuation, I decided to do a page about books that I bought this year. So I stamped on my title, did my outline, and then I did all these little stamps that are also on that icon stamp from Ellie Studio that say new, and I thought that one was really cute. But then whenever I went to add like little highlighted marks, I hated it. I did it in gray, and I just felt like they did not look good. So I just tore a page, or I cut a page out of the very back of the Hobonichi, no, we're not working in a Hobonichi, of the Archer and Olive notebook. I just took a page out of the back and then cut it down, you noticed, and then I rounded the corners and all that kind of good stuff and just adhered it right inside. And honestly, if you're not looking for it, you can't even really tell that I have adhered another piece of paper like to cover up my mistake. So it worked out well. And then I just did little like highlighted lines down each side. Then I'm taking this tiny little stamp set that I got from, I think, Ellie Studio as well, actually. And on it, it has these little teeny tiny numbers. And so I thought that I would go through and just number all of those lines. So I number it 1 through 34. So kind of a weird number amount, and I don't know if I will buy more than 34 books this year or not. I very well might. So if I buy more, I don't think I really care. I think I'm just going to leave it at 34. But if I enjoy documenting this, I might, leave myself a 2-page spread for next year or whatever. But if I don't write down every single book I buy this year, it's not the end of the world. But I think it's a cute spread. I colored in all of those little news, and I think that looks really cute. So then moving back actually to the very first spread, I hadn't done a title for this one yet, and I didn't know what I wanted to do. So here is where I pull out those numbers that match the main alpha stamp set that I'm using throughout. So I think it's the Ali Edwards one. I'm not sure. I'll try to confirm. And I'm just stamping out 2024 in just 4 different colors, kind of overlapping them just for interest. Then I'm going to use that Starburst again and one of the little books. And I just kind of like stamped the little book inside of the 0. It's kind of small, but it's fine. It works good enough for me. And I think that it's just a cute and easy, colorful opening for my album. And I like it. So at this point, I am done for this video. So I'm going to give you a bit of a flip through, and we will work on the bookshelfie and documenting all of February in the next video. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this setup of my reading journal. I'm so happy to have it ready, and I'm so excited to document with you guys all of the fun books and all of the things throughout this year. So if you did enjoy this video, please give me a like. Please also consider subscribing. And of course, I'll be back at you super soon with another video. Have a great day, friends, and I'll talk to you later. Bye, y'all.